We see a lot of inspections and inspectors out there who, and you hear the stories where people come in and they spend 10, 15 minutes in the property and they write a report from that, which is impossible to do.
So welcome back to the Gyms podcast, and I've got a really special 3 interviews we've got lined up today. So we've got Andreas who's come down from Sydney, so from Gyms Building Inspections in Pymble, and you're the Franchisee of the Year for New South Wales last year as well. So first of all, how did you get involved with gyms?
I was doing a lot of corporate work. I was in civil engineering, worked for businesses like Lend-Lease and Downer, and it was a lot corporate. I did a lot of structures at that time. I'm a constructing architect by trade, but got sort of caught up in the civil engineering world. I enjoyed that for a very long time when doing structures and sort of relevant things to my education, but I got sort of sidetracked into the roads and the additional turning lanes and sort of a smaller work like that, very difficult, complex jobs. And I thought, it's probably about time to move a bit into what I studied and what I really knew. So that was about houses, about properties, about building and designing houses. So I sort of decided to look at a couple of options, ended up with gyms because of the support network it has. Because, I had a lot of connections in the civil engineering business, but I didn't have any in the building industry. So that's sort of the reason why I started to look into the gyms franchise at the time.
And what was it about the gyms franchise that appealed to you? Because you probably were looking at a few different things and we've done a lot of research. What was it about the gyms brand or the system that you liked?
It was the support network, and at the time, obviously the support network and that you got the systems that you needed in place, but also the fact that you would get instant leads. The leads were quite important in the beginning because you don't have those connections at the time. So it was a support network really around gyms, the franchise, which attracted me to that.
Awesome. Now, before we go any further, where's your accent from?
Yeah, I come from Iceland.
Iceland. Now, you're the first Icelandic franchisee we've ever interviewed, and we always go, we've probably got a franchisee from every country, so it's great to tick Iceland off the list now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so tell us, just real quick before we go into the gym stuff, like how long have you been over in Australia for?
I moved here in 2008, March 2008, working for a company called Abbey Group, which Lend-Lease later bought. We were building I was supposed to go on a dam project up in Gympie, but that got canned with change of government. So they sent me down to Coffs Harbour, or up to Coffs Harbour from here, to participate in building a water treatment plant, which was a very interesting job.
What a change from Iceland to Coffs Harbour.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Golden beaches versus the blacks in Iceland and white snow.
Amazing. All right, so going back. So you've done research, right? You've decided on gyms, and you've obviously then there's a training thing, and there's a whole, this coming to do training at National. So how did you find the training back in the day?
Oh, really good. Yeah. So, I mean, when you join, you do have a 5-day full-on training for the pre-purchase for the building inspections, and then a 4-day training for the new construction. And it really sort of sets the basics for what you're about to do. You go out and you do inspections, you get the tools like the app, and you're really trained in how to detect, identify really and write defects.
Because you guys have a divisional specific training as well, don't you, with the team?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now with your industry, I think there's a lot more awareness around defects. There seems to be a story every week on a current affair with someone with defected houses. So just what's happening with the industry at the moment from your perspective as a building inspector?
Well, we see a lot of inspections and inspectors out there who, And you hear the stories where people come in and they spend 10-15 minutes in the property, and they write a report from that, which is impossible to do. So unfortunately, it's not a legislated trade, meaning that anyone really can become a building inspector. The difference really what we get through gyms is, like I said before, because we do get the systems on really how to go through the property and what to identify. You know, inspections that we do will never take less than between 1 and 2 hours, you know.
Yeah, let's talk about that in the comparison. So you mentioned some other companies will do 15 minutes and that's it, and then provide a report. Whereas do you want to walk through the process with what you guys do and just the point of difference in the market?
So I guess when someone calls in, we get a lead through the call center, and we take them through the process when we talk to them on the phone as the first sort of instance. We explain what we do, what to expect, what to expect in the building inspection, what to expect in the pre-purchase, in the pest inspection, and where we go and like in the ceiling voids and the subfloors and so on, and we show them sample reports to support the work that we do. You know, there's rarely a report which is less than 50 pages.
50 pages, right?
That's coming from us.
Yeah. Yeah, so you guys would obviously take hundreds of photos as well, and it's obviously you got to take time with the report. You've got a great app as well, from what I know from the franchisees. Yeah.
No, the app is pretty good. Yeah. Photos, you know, I go through about 400 to 600 photos per inspection.
Right.
And we need to store that for 7 years, so it's
really?
a bit of a storage to have.
Bit of cloud storage, yep.
Yeah.
And I was going to say as well, with that report, so is it confusing for the customer, or how do you go through it? Do you go through it with them, or how does it sort of look for the customer side?
So I think probably the app that we have is probably the easiest to understand report on the market. I did an inspection, for example, last Monday. It was an urgency on a property, and the buyer agent got someone in because I wasn't available. They weren't happy, so I came back in the following Monday and did another inspection of the property, because the report that they received had no photos, no explanation.
Really?
Yes, there were about 20 or 30 defects, but there wasn't really a good way to understand them. And that's really what our app and our sort of setup does. It explains it from a defect point of view, with what the defect is, what the consequences are, and in some cases how to fix it. But in all cases, who is the next contact person to talk to get further advice on the defect itself. It has photos of all defects. Most of us do this. We take a zoom out photo and zoom in photo with arrows and explanations on what it actually is. So our reports are much more clear and understandable than most reports on the market.
And with what you do from your experience, what are the most common defects you find, or what's the sort of things that homeowners should know when purchasing a property?
I guess probably the one that's in sort of 95 to 98% of reports is moisture behind showers.
Right.
Moisture behind tiles in shower alcoves, which is sort of a natural thing. The grout doesn't, it's not waterproof, so it absorbs the water. Many get spooked because of that, but obviously we got the tools to investigate that further by checking the moisture on the other side of the wall, making sure the waterproofing is okay, to sort of give a more comfort whether it's something that needs to be investigated further or whether it's sort of good for the next few years.
And with the reports you do, you mentioned building inspection and pest. What other things have you been doing for clients?
So I guess the pre-purchase is sort of the bulk of it, half of it, but new construction and dilapidation reports is something that I've done a lot of. So new construction, that's when you buy off the plan or whether you're just doing your own build. We do about 6 or 7 stages, all the way from pour of slab, post-pour, framing, pre-lining, waterproofing, and handover. And those are very, very important inspections. I think the return on investment for the purchaser of that property is probably higher than on the building and pest reports, because there is and will never be a builder that gets it right the first time.
I love hearing you say that, Andreas, because I think for me now, because we did a video with one of Jim's mates, all right, and he had a new townhouse built. There was and they didn't get inspections involved at all, and then it was a disaster, and we had to, the 200 grand and stuff like that. So basically, anytime someone wants to get a new build of anything, townhouse, house, they should be doing that new construction in those 5 or 6 stages. They should be getting it. Yeah,
absolutely. Without a doubt. Yeah. And you go through inspection processes where things are pretty good, and the client may think, why did I do this? Because there aren't that many defects. But there will always be something that will come up during the process that makes it worthwhile for the whole process. For at least then it is a record of what has happened, because we issue photos, additional photos of the process and how what the frame is like, so that what the services are like. So that's sort of a record for the owner for future.
Yeah, and also you're the advocate for them, because if you're a homeowner and you don't know what the builder's really saying, but you're just relying on all the time, with what's been going on, everyone can see it online with all the videos and stuff now.
Yeah.
But I think just having you guys as an advocate is an absolute no-brainer, and as you said, the ROI and that, just having that to cover yourself, plus someone who actually knows what they're talking about to go on your behalf with the builder, is just it sounds like it must be a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Are you surprised that not enough more people get it? Because it seems like it should just be an essential thing that once you do a new build, you just get you guys in to do that.
I am, and you have the discussions with people, and some of them believe or think that when you spend 3-4 grand on an overall inspection process to make sure that it's done right, they find that as a substantial amount. But spending 1.5 million,
it's crazy.
What's the risk of that?
I agree with you. It sounds like an absolute no-brainer. So if you're getting a new build, please just do it, because it's a really good, as you said, ROI, just to cover yourself. And people, there's a lot of awareness now with the industry, I think, and obviously builders are under a lot of pressure and stuff, and there's not having a crack at builders, but there's a lot more awareness around this issue, so I'm just pleased people get it done.
Yeah.
But and then you mentioned our dilapidation reports. Can you explain for people what that is?
Yeah, so dilapidation is when you need to photograph or record the current situation of a property at a certain snapshot in time. Yeah.
It's all good. Yeah.
So it's sort of to get a snapshot in time, because a lot of the projects that I have on dilapidation, they're on road projects, and that comes from my previous background as working as a civil engineer and my contacts that I have there. So these may be road upgrades. I did a project in Newcastle a year ago. That was about 12 kilometers of roads, a bypass.
Right.
And I did inspection on 220 houses, 50 kilometers of roads, and a few parks. So it was a really good project, but these are sort of, this is for the benefit of both the contractor and the owner of the house, so that if something happens in the future, you know exactly what it looked like before. And I've had a case on this particular project where a claim has been made, and it was very clear on the photos what it was before, so it was like that before.
Right.
Yeah.
Just to cover themselves, they should be getting it done, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I presume that's only going to increase with the amount of building increasing now, and different projects happening all the time, so it sounds like it's an absolute no-brainer. It's a massive project. How long did that take you to do?
Sort of in stages, it was about half a year.
Half a year, wow, yeah.
But the main focus was about probably about 3-4 weeks, sort of November, December before Christmas, and another 6 weeks in January and February.
Now, main type of clients, obviously you've got individuals who come to you, but obviously there's probably real estate agents, and you mentioned construction companies. So what types of people are you engaging with services?
I guess if you talk about ongoing referrals, conveyancers and buyer agents, they're probably our or my best referral partners when it comes to the pre-purchase inspections. When it comes to new construction, that is basically individuals. There are not many construction companies that have inspections done. We know of some, but on sort of generally they just leave that to the buyer itself, really.
Right.
But yeah, so mainly individual in the pre-purchase. In the dilapidation, for me, that would be civil contractors.
And from the pre-purchase as well, I think clients should always get an independent party, which would be you guys, as opposed to maybe sometimes the builder might recommend someone, or they have someone who does that. Do you hear about that a bit sometimes?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. There's a lot of vendors reports. Obviously, are quite common nowadays, and there are a lot of inspectors who report them differently to buyers' reports.
Right.
They may write them differently, and they may not report on everything. I've done multiple inspections for clients where there has been a vendor's report available, and the difference between those two reports is absolutely vast. There's such difference in the findings in many of the vendor's reports compared to the actual buyer reports where the purchaser is your client.
Now, with the report as well, it's non-invasive, is it, or do you guys drill into things, or what's under the subfloor do you have? I've seen robots and stuff being used by people. So what's the actual, should customers expect from the actual report side? Like, what can you see or what can't you do?
Yeah. So generally speaking, it is visual only. It is a visual inspection by code, and that's pretty much what we do. We use our tools like the moisture meter and the thermal camera in the subfloor. For myself, I crawl the subfloor as far as I can, but there are always areas you can't see or you can't access. Yes, I know of those robots. They're actually quite good, but I sort of think that, well, I feel that my eyes are better than the robot's eyes. So I feel that I need to do this personally and in sort of be there in person.
So there's a bit of a physical aspect to building inspections as well, getting under there, doing the bit of the army crawl under the subfloor as well. So So I want to make that clear, because obviously clients might have different expectations sometimes. Even though you guys make it clear to them that it's visual inspection only as well. I presume there might be still sometimes people think you can have X-ray eyes and see behind here sometimes. So to make that clear, and I think on the report itself it does make that very clear.
It does, and we obviously have our obstructions and limitations and all of that, and many people, they get a bit spooked. You get calls where people say, "Listen, do I need that re-inspection? Should I have that re-inspection?" And the thing is, there are things that are out of our control when it comes to obstruction, like walls and linings. We can't see through them. Obviously, there's equipment that can track movements, but that's sort of the next level if there are concerns. So we try to explain to people that you won't get. We try to explain that although there are obstructions, we have certain tools and methods to reduce the risk, although we can never eliminate it.
And you got Franchisee of the Year last year in NSW, so well done on that.
Thank you.
Why did you think you got that? Is it due to customer service, or what was that due to?
Listen, I think I try to help everyone. There are new franchisees and people, and I've sort of participated in the training. I share with them defects and my knowledge, my methodologies, how to do things and start things. I think my reports are very detailed and very thorough. I think they're pretty well written also, even though I come from Iceland. But but I believe it's because of my mindset with other franchisees and my willingness to assist, and then the defect writing itself and my reports.
And what do you think makes a good franchisee? Because you'd obviously bring people in and they come in from different backgrounds and things like that. What do you think people should know about before getting into it? What sort of qualities?
Yeah, I think it's about, obviously you need a really, really good, solid background about houses and properties. You need to know what the function of them are, how they are built, what's the structural components and so on. But apart from that, I think it's very important to have integrity, to be honest, and report on everything as you see it. There may be different points of view on things, and some take a very hard point of view, and there's no deflection from that. But then there's also the approach of being practical. You need to be a bit practical around how you assess the defects. You need to obviously protect yourself in the writing and how you talk through things, but you need to be practical. Is it really something that can be fixed or not? Should you walk away from the property or not? And that's your responsibility as an inspector to talk your client through that, in my mind.
Has there been any customer stories that come to mind where you've sort of provided them that advice and really saved them from doing something, purchasing something? Is there anything that comes to mind?
Yeah, no, several times. There's been properties. Only yesterday was a property which looked amazing on the surface, 3-story house with a basement, but the basement, the sort of rumpus was fitted as a bedroom, and it faced the subfloor area. Now, water ingress through the subfloor area and the spoon drain in there wasn't sufficient, allowing water to rise into the walls. And I advised that client not to buy that property because it was too hard to rectify that. Needed waterproofing, a lot of work, drainage outside on the surrounding areas. So yes, we do come to the occasion where we really advise people not to go ahead.
Okay, it could be hard sometimes with that bite of that heart really set on that property, and then they're getting told not to, so the head's got to sort of pull them away from it, I guess. Yeah. And with your business as well, so you mentioned pre-purchase pests, you mentioned dilapidation and new construction. Is there anything else you find yourself doing in terms of reporting? Or
I do mold. Mold inspections. There's not many franchisees, building inspectors who do the mold inspections. So I've done this for a bit now. James has done a training in that, and we're doing further training in that in the next month or so.
Right.
So we go to properties, and instead of normal building inspection, we do an inspection which is for conducive conditions to mold, which is mainly moisture, drainage around the property, weep holes, anything, ventilation, openable windows, cross ventilation. So we do a really clear and precise report with the conditions, and we propose the next steps in how to solve that. We go in, or I go in, I take air samples and physical samples. So we've got a machine which obstructs the air. We send it to a laboratory, and it's a very black and white outcome of the number of spores in the air, which will sort of give you an indication whether there are health hazards in there or not.
Because I can see it, because it seems to be like a mold story every week in the news. I see it online now. So there seems to be a lot more awareness around the issue, and people are taking it a lot more seriously. So I can see it as a big service coming over the coming years.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely, and it's only going to grow.
Yeah.
We work quite well with the Jim's hazmat team who do mold restoration. So no, it's definitely gonna become bigger, and something that people should do if they are in doubt, because it's going to be a very clear outcome of the reporting that we have.
Absolutely, and people are a lot more conscious now about health in their home, and and want to have a healthier home. And if they've got kids with asthma or themselves, this is a big issue, and you guys can. It's a great thing for you guys because you can actually solve it or identify it. But you've got hazmat who can come in if there needs to be any remediation done as well, so we can do that.
Yeah.
Cool. And I was going to say support from the team. So you've been around for a while now. So how's the support been over the years? So who's your franchisor actually?
Sam Robertson.
He just walked in the room, so that's why I said it. So you're going to say the good things.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, keep it going. So Sam's in the background, so we might get a different answer now. So So how's the support been from the team over the years?
Listen, it's been fantastic. When I joined, Sam was actually the one who called me back when I had my queries, and he talked through the process. Support from him and from other franchisees. And like I was saying before about the mentoring and assisting new franchisees, I got the same when I joined, and it's very valuable. And probably one of the more valuable things with Jim's that you have this access to all this knowledge, which the building inspectors are. If you don't know anything, you just ask and you will have an answer the same day or few minutes later. Yeah,
it's a great point because you've got such a big network and all these guys with different experience, like your background. You have someone who's might have a building company for 20 years. You've got all these things and you can basically jump on the phone or get an answer really, really quickly. And it's a thing that customers should understand is that the franchisee you're using has access not just to their knowledge, all these other different businesses which they can call upon. So you've got that really good experience across the group. I was going to say as well then, Iceland, difference between there and obviously in Australia, must be a few differences. So what do you miss about home compared to here?
Do you know, it's a bit strange, but I actually miss the snow and the cold.
Right. You're in thongs and shorts today, so we can't see
that. I when I go home for a visit to visit my family, I try to go actually through the winter time.
Yeah.
I like to get a bit of a frostbite on my nose and struggle going through the snow and have a bit of a blizzard. Yeah. But I don't think I would move there again to work because I don't think I could work through that snow blizzard. We only have 3-4 hours of daylight during winter time, and it would be quite difficult to do inspections in that environment. I actually met a couple of inspectors in Iceland, and we had a meeting around 3 o'clock, and at 4:30, pitch black dark, they stood up and went to do an inspection.
I was going to say, I always hear Icelandic is actually one of the hardest languages to learn, but I think Australian slang is probably up there. So how did you go with the lingo when you first came over?
Listen, I didn't do too bad because I lived in New Zealand before, and that was hard. Very hard to get the Kiwi language coming from Iceland. So I think it was a bit sort of a step back a bit of a step back. It was a bit easier to understand the Australians than it was understanding the Kiwis.
Well, we have common understanding them as well, so it's good to hear that from someone else in a different country. But I was going to say as well, moving forward, building industry, where do you see it going over the next 4 years? Because obviously, housing crisis, and there's going to be a lot more things going up. So how do you see it for you guys in the future?
Yeah, listen, I think we're going to have more issues around properties. The class 2, they're trying to regulate that, so I think that's going to become more regulated. But single detached houses, I think it's going to become worse because you need to build and you need builders, and there's not a lot of quality builders around. So I think we're going to have more issues and purchasers of a plan, or anyone who is buying a new construction building, they need to be very diligent about doing they need to be I need to do the due diligence in terms of inspections and monitoring that it's done right.
It just has to be done. I think that's the thing. New build, no matter what, you just do it. That's the cost. You do it. It's not that much money, as you said, in comparison to the investment you're doing. So another service you guys do, I've heard, is expert witness. So we're going to talk about that and why do people need that, or why should they get that?
Yeah, so I guess expert witness is sort of the final stage. If you have a dispute with your builder, if you had a builder that hasn't done the right thing, you got massive defects, but expert witness can be a very, very expensive process to go through. You hardly get a report for less than 10-15 grand for that, and probably bulk of these cases, they end up by being resolved during the dispute phase. But you do need to have a solid report to support, obviously, where you're at. So what we've come up with is sort of a semi-expert witness report. It is written sort of with the same methodology, with the defect identification, the resolution, and the clear clause into the standards and the National Construction Code. And the costs of those inspections are probably about a third, of what the expert witness report is. It reports on the same things. It may not have exactly the same detail, but you can read the same things out of them. And it's a fantastic service if people want to start the process, but they may not need to go through to court. So yeah, very, very detailed and beneficial report to have.
Andreas, thank you very much for coming in today. You've come down from Sydney today, so we appreciate you coming down, and great to meet you, and our first Icelandic franchisee that I've met, that I know in the group, so I'm really happy to have met you, and thank you for your information today. We really appreciate it. If you're watching online, please make sure you subscribe, and if you need a building inspector, 131546, or just head to gyms.net, and we'll talk to you soon.